Welcome to the Strong, Single and Human podcast, a real look at single parenting, how to navigate the ups and downs of life with kids on your own while keeping sane. We cover all manner of subjects from domestic violence, dealing with childhood trauma, through to fussy eaters and how to help your kids become resilient. I'm your host, Claire Martin. Welcome. This week's guest is founder and CEO of Osso Safe. Feel safe where you live, work and play. She is a TEDx speaker, real estate agent and consultant on promoting safety and preventing violence in the workplace, schools and in places of residence. Her personal and professional experience with the subject allows her to bring a unique and holistic approach as a solution. By combining education and technology, we can save lives and the bottom line. She is also a professional dancer, teacher, who uses her performance abilities to educate on the subject. Her TEDx presentation at the New Jersey City University can be viewed online. Its title is, "If You're a Victim of Home Violence, Don't Leave, Stay." Now that's an interesting title. I would say leave, but you need to watch the video to see what she talks about. And she has done over 80 plus radio podcast interviews to shine the spotlight on entrepreneurs doing amazing things in this space. Hi, welcome to the podcast, Sabrina Osso. How are you?
Very well. Thank you so much, Claire. We're so happy to be here with you.
No. I can't wait to hear about Osso Safe, which is, your platform and your baby as such, what you've basically created to help people. But first of all, let's hear a little bit about you. So tell us about your journey and how you got to creating Osso Safe.
Yes. Again, thank you for the opportunity. We greatly appreciate these platforms. It's just wonderful. I've had enough therapy, off and on therapy, to be comfortable enough to say that I am a survivor of violence. My father beat my mother on a regular basis, and my mother would beat me. So I know firsthand how traumatic, horrific, terror-like it is to live in those types of environments, in those atmospheres. So basically, it's about turning pain into power, basically. So it was very bad. A lot of abuse, violence, chaos, dysfunction.
Wow.
And so I did what I was supposed to do. I graduated university. I have a computer science degree. I got the jobs and all of that, but I was very unhappy because when you live with violence and abuse, you're very distracted. You cannot live your best life or even know what that is if you're fighting a war in your own house. You just can't. So I'm a dancer. That's in my DNA. I'm a dancer. And I couldn't mention dance in my household. I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't even hint dance. So I had to wait until I graduated. I moved out. And I've had therapy, off and on therapy, as I mentioned, for quite some time. My therapist said to me, "Sabrina, you're a dancer. You have to go dance. You should dance." So that's what I did.
Wow.
I was taking 12 classes a week, dancing, ballet, jazz, hip hop, modern, tap, Latin, everything. So I was catching up on lost time, years of it. I was catching up. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing at 5 years old. I had to wait until I was 21 when I moved out.
Wow.
Yeah. And I live close enough to New York City. So luckily I was able to hop on a bus, get to Port Authority, and I shuffled between 3 dance studios mainly. And I took a lot of classes. My body was changing. It was becoming like sculpted in a way. That's what happens when you take ballet, when you're serious, as a dancer. And I was getting gigs. I auditioned like crazy. I was getting rejected a lot. But then I started writing my one-woman show. It's called Home Sweet Home, ? And I wrote, choreographed, and performed the show.
Wow.
And at the time I was teaching dance to dance students, and I performed it with my dance students for a time, which was really awesome, I have to say, looking back. Basically, the show is about, I play different women being abused. She goes to her good place. That's where the dancing comes in. But then she's pulled back into the terror of violence. But the show ends really strong, really empowering. And I did a lot of research for the show, Claire, because I wanted the show to be educational, entertaining, and empowering. And I could not believe the statistics that I was finding researching for the show. I could not believe how common this was. I couldn't believe how this crosses over every facet of one's life, religion, economic status, nationality. No matter what you are, you could be in a bad situation pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So I said to myself, I need to make this into a business, into a bona fide business with products and services that could really help people. And that's how Osso Safe was born, out of this one-woman show. Wow. So I hope I answered the question, just to give a good summation.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you did. Yes. So I want to get on to what Osso Safe is later on in the podcast, but I've been subject to domestic violence. It wasn't physical domestic violence, but it was emotional domestic violence, psychological domestic violence. And so give me, can you, so that's where I've experienced it. Have you got, with all of your research that you did, give me some examples of domestic violence, right? Because in my head, I always thought the domestic violence was physical, right? So it was somebody punching you or whatever, or throttling you or whatever, but it's not. And it takes so many different facets. So what did you find out regarding abuse, basically?
Yes. Excellent question. Violence or abuse, the definition, put it simply, is a pattern of forceful behavior. That could be verbal, that could be physical, that could be sexual, that could be financial, emotional, mental. Although at Osso Safe, we like to put abuse, violence, if you will, in 3 buckets. Because when you start dividing and subdividing and subdividing, it gets too much. It gets too confusing. So we like to put it in, if you had to put abuse in buckets, 3 of them: verbal, physical, sexual.
Okay.
And we say this because verbal, like you said, emotional, no one has to touch you to be abusive. If someone is calling you, you're a bitch, a slut, a whore, a tramp, a sleaze, a floozy, a bimbo, a thought, a skank every day, all day long, they don't touch you. But that's abuse, because it is a pattern of forceful behavior where you are put down, you are humiliated, you are spoken to in a derogatory manner, you are it kind of it hurts your being, even though they didn't touch you. Parents that abuse children, If the parent is calling the child over and over again, you're a brat, you're a monster, you're a prissy little bitch, you're ungrateful, you're a baby, you're a drama queen, you're being broken.
Yeah.
Even if they don't touch you. So that's verbal, right? And I have to say, physical and sexual abuse always starts verbally, actually.
Wow.
So
okay.
it's kind of like verbal is always there. It's like a default. So if someone is punching you, hitting you, slapping you, they're not saying, I love you, you're wonderful, you are great. They're calling you all those names. They're putting you down. It's a given. It's a default, really.
Yeah.
So with the physical and sexual abuse, it's automatic that there's verbal abuse there, almost even if it's not spoken, because it's, you know, who makes you feel safe. You know who makes you feel not safe. So in the physical category, it's beatings, it's cigarette burns, it's punching, hitting, slapping, kicking. It is, and we like to also categorize financial abuse in physical abuse, because when someone begins to control your money, well, that is physical abuse. Your persona is being attacked. So we like to envelope that in physical abuse. Children that are abused, let's say the parent doesn't touch them inappropriately, like slap them, hit them. However, if you're forcing let's say you're divorced, you're not together. It doesn't have to be divorce. You're not together with the father or mother of your child. But the parent is forcing the child to drive 2-3 hours one way without traffic to see the parent. That's abuse. And the child is in the back seat feeling nauseous, having headaches and backaches, and they're not being beaten, but that's abuse. You should be traveling to the child, not have the child forcefully travel to you. They're in the car. That's abuse. And then there's sexual abuse, where if someone is fondling you, they're touching you when there's no consent. And as a child, you're not consenting. And they may think that they're consenting because they're so young. But if they are being touched inappropriately on their bathing suit parts, as they say, they explain it to children as bathing suit parts, that's sexual abuse. But again, you don't have to touch a child in order to sexually abuse them. If you're showing that child pornography, if you're showing a child bondage, domination, sadism, and masochism material on TV, online, in a magazine, social media, that's sexual abuse. Wow. If you are living with someone who does pornography, shoots the videos where that child eats, sleeps, lives, that's sexual abuse. Even if you're not involving the child in the videos, but you are doing this so-called work right where the child eats, sleeps, lives, even if you lock yourself in another room, that's sexual abuse. So we like to categorize in those three realms: verbal, physical, sexual abuse. There is financial abuse enveloped in there. And you have to think, with mental abuse and psychological abuse, those are consequences. Like if you're being attacked in a combination of any of those, or even just one of those, you feel like crap.
Yeah.
You feel broken. Your spirit. I remember living in my house with my mother and father, and my father hit me once, but he hit my mother many, 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 many
Wow.
times. And every time he hit her, I felt like he was hitting me. And you feel so defeated, so victimized, so down, and like the best word I could describe is, I know it sounds weird, but as a child and even as a grown-up, you just feel yucky. Just, you feel so broken and so victimized that you're below the earth. Like you have the earth, right? And the earth has layers. You feel lower than that. And you feel very trapped. You feel very like it's stolen from you. Like, why does it have to be like this? And it could be as simple, like in my household when I was living with my parents, whether I got good grades, bad grades, if I wanted to go shopping, if something had to be bought for the house, right? You're a family, you need to buy things. It was war. Wow. My father would yell at my mother, "Why did you buy this? Why did you get that toy? We don't need that. Oh, Sabrina is sick. Well, now we have to bring her to the doctor. It's your fault. This is all your fault. I hear her sneezing." I mean,
my God.
On and on and on. I know it's laughable, right? And I know you're not being, it's like ludicrous, right?
Well,
like
it is. It is exactly right.
You're a parent, and yeah, kids get sick. Kids get good grades, bad grades. They need things. They have to go shopping. But in an abusive household, the simplest, most innocent things, it's a war. A war.
I know.
And this is what people don't understand. Like, what do you mean you can't go dance? What do you mean you can't go shopping? What do you mean? But that's what it becomes, and how you can't be yourself in these households. So I hope I answer the question. I know I go off on a tangent, but just to give some examples of each.
No.
People are aware.
I recognize all of that, because in my situation, I just felt drained. I felt angry, because it's like the same thing that you say. It's where you go, why can't this be why can't I have a normal life, right? Why can't I do X, Y, and Z, right? And so it's draining, because you're constantly in fight or flight, and you're just wary, you're stepping on eggshells all of the time. And in my situation, there was a lot of gaslighting, a lot of blame, and all of those sort of situations, and addictive behavior, right? So I'm dealing with that sort of situation as well. And look, it's fine. I've come out of it. I'm 4 years out of it. Like you, I've had a lot of therapy over the years. And, I think I accept it and say, well, if that didn't happen to me, I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing now, which is the podcast. I wouldn't be as empathetic as I am now. I wouldn't be wanting to help and assist other single parents. So, although I wouldn't want to wish it on my worst enemy, right? The thing is,
right,
it had to happen potentially to put me on a journey and get me to where I am, basically. So
I understand. Yeah, I like to say, though, that if, like, we are very big proponents at Osso Safe that no one should live like this. No one, especially children.
Yeah, I agree.
So it doesn't make you stronger yes, you're more knowledgeable, you are more aware, and you'll know what to do next time once you, at least we hope so, when you are with someone else, you'll know the warning signs. And it's very important to know these warning signs by far. But don't think, and I want to say this to your audience, to your listeners, don't think that you need to wear abuse as a badge of honor, because it's not something that you should go through. This should not be the norm. And at Osso Safe, we will see to it on a global level that abuse, violence, dysfunction in any capacity is gone, and it needs to be, because it's no way to live. There's plenty of things in life that will make you strong. Heartache, normal heartache, I'm talking about. You break up with someone, you're going out with someone, things happen, you break it off, not because of abuse. Other factors that will make you strong. If you lose your job and you're getting rejected, if you're a dancer, an actor, a singer, and you get rejected and it makes you better as a performer, that makes you strong. If you fail at cooking or at electric engineering, or you get bad grades in a certain subject, well, it'll steer you in a different direction. That will make you strong. These are normal things that happen in life. But violence, abuse, chaos, dysfunction, no. So yes, you learn from it. You can come out of it. But we shouldn't wear it as a badge of honor, like, oh, now I'm stronger for it. Because violence, abuse, chaos, dysfunction, it will break you. And we're not supposed to be broken. We're not supposed to be broken, So I just wanted to make that distinction. And it is about turning pain into power. But don't think that abuse is normal.
No, it's
don't
not.
Think that violence is normal. Absolutely not. You have the right to be safe in your own home, period, over and out.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I'm saying, looking back in hindsight, it feels as though this is where it should. I wouldn't want to be going through it ever again, and hope not to be. So talk to me then about what is Osso Safe, and then also what made you start it?
Yes. Osso Safe, we basically provide products and services to promote safety and prevent violence in the workplace, schools, but in particular in your place of residence. So I want to be clear that we're not a charity. We're not a nonprofit. We're a bona fide business with products and services. We strongly believe at Osso Safe that this is a huge problem, enormous, worldwide.
Oh, it's massive.
Worldwide.
Massive.
And you cannot solve this problem by holding a bucket and waiting for donations to be put in that bucket. People need to pay for those services, so that way it actually gets resolved. We respect all of the nonprofits and charities that deal with domestic violence, but in a way, they keep it in place by being just that, a charity, a nonprofit. Their goal is not really to resolve it. So we are set to resolve it, as we say at Osso Safe, victims do not need pity. They don't need handouts. What they need are solutions. They need resolution. So we combine education and technology to promote safety and prevent violence in the workplace, schools, and as I mentioned, in places of residence. If you think about where violence happens, abuse, it happens in some type of residence, if you think about it, the root of it. So we need to make homes safe. Whether you live in a townhouse, a co-op, a condo, a single-family home, a multifamily dwelling, a two-family home, a villa, a mansion, a mobile home, a dormitory at university, in a senior community, it doesn't matter. Your place of residence should be safe. So we're saying we at Osso Safe, we want our products and services to propagate over all residency, no matter where you live. But right now we're focusing on the landlord-tenant portion of the real estate industry, because that's the path of least resistance. And we're saying, look, Mr. and Miss Landlord, hire us, we'll get your property Osso Safe certified. What does that mean? They purchase, the landlord, the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package, and it consists of a policy, a seminar, an app, and therapists assigned to the property. So basically, just to give a brief definition for each of those components, the policy basically states, I, as a landlord, I promise to provide you a safe space for you to live. You, in turn, as my tenant, you promise to not act in any way, shape, or form abusively. Otherwise, you, the abuser only, gets immediately evicted from the premises. And we go into full knowledge knowing that that would be the consequences. So there's no surprise. You live in an Osso Safe certified property, you are going to be held to a higher regard, a higher standard in an Osso Safe certified property. So that's the policy. The second component is a seminar. Everybody gets educated, Claire. Adults and children on facts, statistics, warning signs, definitions of abuse, the difference between abuse and discipline, just to name a few items. So that way you can turn around and say, oh, I didn't know that if I pull the hair of my spouse, of my partner, that constitutes abuse. Now you know. I didn't know if I beat the crap out of my kid because my kid came home with bad grades, that that's abuse. Now you know. So that's the seminar. And also a very important component of Osso Safe certifications is that we ask children, who do you feel safe with? Now, granted, they could, if they're being abused, they could lie and say, I'm safe with mom and dad. However, we know for a fact that abusers, they could put their poker face on, it's an expression, for a week, a couple of days, a couple of months at most, but then their true colors show up. So we're going to know if that child is really safe with their parents. So we find out right away who they feel safe with. And there could be children that say, I feel safe with Aunt so-and-so or Uncle so-and-so or Grandma, Grandpa. And we take notes. We make it a point to say, okay, we're going to record this in our notes as part of the certification, and we're going to wait. So this is all part of the seminar. We don't wait until a child is 18 years old, like in the United States, where you have agency over your life. It's too late to wait till they're 18, quite frankly, way too late. Yeah. The third component is an app. I hired a software company to design an app that will detect violent-like movements and captures them in real time, issuing alerts. So basically, let's say, for example, in a 10-unit building, wow, as a landlord, I just got an alert in my unit 2 and in my unit 10, you just beat the crap out of her and you just beat the crap out of him. This is grounds for eviction. You knew that this was going to happen. We don't tolerate this behavior. So that way it eliminates the he said, she said factor in Osso Safe certified properties. Then the fourth and final component is therapists assigned to the property, as I mentioned. You are required once a month to check in with your therapist. Is everything okay? Do you feel like anything is looming as far as an abusive episode? Anything that you feel that you need help with. So just to give an example, yes, therapist, our child came home with bad grades or is being, there's something going on. We don't know how to handle it. Help us through this. All of these components together is on the preventative side versus waiting for an episode of violence to occur and then police show up. Yeah. Bad news travels fast. Did you hear what happened in Unit 22A? Oh, I was in the elevator with them. And then there's kids screaming. You hear fighting. No. In an Osso Safe certified property, we diminish all of that and prevent it. So over time, all of these episodes will happen less and less. And if and when they do happen, well, we have systems and mechanisms in place to go in with extra therapy. The abuser is out versus making the victim and the kids move out. No, we flip all of that. So this is what we are introducing and implementing into the real estate industry by way of the Osso Safe certifications and the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package. And we are speaking to people in the real estate industry to say, look, this is how real estate needs to move. It's not enough that you have heat and hot water and electricity and central air and concierge. That's great. But if you don't make your units safe in terms of violence, abuse, chaos, dysfunction, everything else is secondary. It's secondary. Who cares if the heat is working, but you're getting beat up by your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your ex, your children, the children are getting beat up. Your husband is beating you up, your wife. Who cares? What good is it that the heat is working if you're fighting bruises and broken ribs and a black eye and a broken... No.
Well, it also affects, if you're living in an apartment block or you're living in units or whatever, it affects everyone around that.
That's right.
Property, basically.
That's
that
right.
Property. So I've just been making little notes here because I've got so many questions.
Sure.
So let's go back to talking. So the landlord basically would take on Osso Safe on their property. That's what you're saying. So the landlord would basically make their property an Osso Safe property, which stipulates that if you're a tenant wanting to move into that property, then you would need to attend the seminar and things like that.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yeah, you are. You're going to have to do things differently. And those components are signing the policy, which is an addendum to existing leases, attend the seminar, participate in it with the therapist, where you are required to check in with the therapist. And then the app is being updated right now. So we're making improvements. We are fine-tuning certain aspects of the app. So that will be installed right now in the common areas of the building. But we intend to have the app only pick up violence, not conversations, not documents, only violence. So it'll pick up a hit, a slap, a rape, a cigarette burn, a punch, those things. So that's what I wanted to ask. So the seminars, I go, okay, that's fair enough. Are these seminars actually where you have to physically attend, or are they online, or how do you know that somebody's attended? Otherwise you're not given the keys to the apartment, to the residence. So before we release the keys, before you move in, you have to sign the policy, take the seminar, and in the policy, it states in there that you're going to check in with your therapist, and we will check in with the therapist. Are these tenants being compliant, if you will? So yes, it's going to be a different type of residency, but everyone will benefit. You within your unit, and then everybody else. So yes, it's going to require different actions, but to tell you the truth, not doing this is giving the results that we have. So if we do this, then residency will be better. It'll be safer. So yes, so we don't release the keys to the unit unless they take the seminar, they agree to the policy stipulations, like you mentioned. Yeah.
But the seminar's a physical seminar that you have to go to.
Yes.
It's not an online thing. Sorry.
You.
No,
yes,
that's okay.
Yeah, but we come to you. We go to the residents. Yeah, they don't have to go anywhere. We do the education right at the residence.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that makes it simple. And then
yes.
So the app, I'm fascinated because my day job is IT, right? So I'm fascinated. How does this app work? Is it that there's sensors in the property that basically sense actions that could be deemed as violent? I don't know.
Yes, it's a combination of AI, artificial intelligence, and facial recognition.
Oh.
So basically, when you are panicked, when you are in a violent situation, you have certain expressions, you have certain you're not happy. Certainly you're not joyous. You are not glad. You're scared. You are in a state of panic. So it picks up those types of behaviors, if you will, and those expressions, and it matches. I can't go into too much detail because an NDA would have to be signed and all of that. But to put it simply, it's artificial intelligence and facial recognition that we use. And yes, there are sensors, there are specific cameras that are used with our app, with my app. So it can't be just any camera right now. And like I said, it is being updated, and you can choose whether to call police, whether to, definitely the landlord, the property owner will be alerted for sure, because it's his or her property, or them, so they have to know. And this is part of the certification, so, and what's great about this is that it removes the need for you to take care of your own safety in a way. Because yes, you have to do your own safety in the sense that attend the seminar, sign the policy, check in with the therapist. But as far as violence, the app is going to take care of it. So you don't have to, like right now, it's like we make the victim responsible for their safety. And when there's children involved who are automatic victims, it's chaos. You got to move. You got to be on the run. You have to run around like a refugee to a shelter. Why? When you could flip all of that. So I'm sorry, I think you were going to have a question, Claire.
No, I was just going to say all of the stuff that's captured by the app and stuff, would that then be able to be used in a court of law if it had to be used in a court of law? I mean, yes, it's at the forefront at the moment of my mind because it's like massive over here in Australia. But the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case that's going on at the moment, which globally is massive, right? Poor both of them, right? Because I think both of them are victims. I'm not sure, who, I think it's half a dozen to one and half a dozen to the other. I think and I'm not going to, I'm not going to go any further into that because, I don't want to defame myself. But, at the end of the day, you need to have evidence. You need to have valuable evidence if you're going to bring a case against somebody, especially regarding children's personal care, your care, etc., etc. So is that what that can potentially be used for then?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can use it for the courts. However, we at Osso Safe, we're saying, and everything that we do, we always consult. I have a small team of lawyers that I always work with, kind of like a checks and balances, if you will.
Yeah.
And one of them is a family law attorney, specializing in divorce and family law. And she told me, Sabrina, what you're doing with Osso Safe and all of the components and the products and services that you're putting out there, you are actually short-circuiting the entire process. And she said this as a good way, in a favorable way, where you won't even need the courts. What do you need the courts for? For what? You are resolving it right in residency where it needs to be resolved. If you have technology detecting the violence, the abuse, and you have a policy that everybody signs and agrees to, and you're educating everyone, whether they are abusive or not, everybody gets educated. And the technology reinforces the education, and the education reinforces the technology, and you have therapists assigned to the property. What do you need the courts for? Because I have to say, Claire, and it sounds like you're echoing it in Australia, the courts are horrible.
Oh, they make
horrible matters even worse. And as far as the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard court case, if I may, I mean, we've been following it. I've been following it pretty closely. And if I may say, and I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Yeah, me too.
Johnny Depp is indeed the victim. Amber Heard, I'll say it right here, right now, and I'm going to be putting out videos about this because I feel that it's very important. And I'm so glad that Osso Safe, the way I built it, we don't assume that the victim is always female. That's not true.
And that's what I love. That's what I love, because I know so many men who have been abused by their partners.
Yes.
But the shame and everything else that goes with it, because they're a man, they're supposed to be, they're supposed to take care of their woman, which is a horrible thing to say, but that's what society sort of says. What's your problem?
Right. Be a
man, or whatever.
Man up.
Yeah, man up. Exactly.
Right. What do you mean she beats you up? You're 6 feet and she's 5'5". What do you mean? I mean,
exactly.
It's a disservice. It's a disservice. I'm not saying Johnny Depp is he knows what that he definitely has he knows he has a drug problem. He knows that. He knows that he's
no angel.
He's got things to work out, drugs, alcohol, maybe work ethic. However, I heard those tapes, the way she talked to him, throwing things at him, severing his finger, saying to him, I didn't punch you, I hit you, and telling him that he's a baby, gave him a black eye, humiliating him where she's taking pictures of him sleeping and maybe dozing off. And these are all things that are facts. They're facts. I'm sorry, but they are facts. He is, I'll say it right here, right now. He's the victim. She is the abuser. That's how I feel. And And I think that he tried very hard to make it work. I mean, she walks into that courtroom with no fear of him whatsoever.
Yeah.
Him, though, he's afraid of her.
Yeah.
The way he looked at her from the beginning, from the first moment that he walked in that courtroom, he's afraid of her by far. Yes, he has problems, but it doesn't negate the fact that she treated him absolutely horribly. And I think he tried to make it work. I think he tried like a victim, right? Making excuses. He never told anyone how he severed the finger. And a victim always protects their abuser, just like what he did. So she is not well. I have to say,
I don't think either of them are well. I think they both need a lot of counselling, a lot of help, and I'm hoping that they're getting it. That's, I don't know what trauma she's been through, and I don't know what trauma he's really been through, but I just see it as both of them being victims. I have lived with somebody who is of an addictive nature, but it does push you, and you do get frustrated and you do get angry about things. But that's not condoning what she's done. I just wonder if it's to me, I look at it and I go, it's tit for tat. It's a relationship where both of them were wrong. I don't believe that bringing it out in a defamation case is the best thing. I think both of them need to get counselling. I think Johnny Depp may lose this defamation. He's made his point, and I think it's very valid. And I think he's been very brave in coming out as a man.
Yes.
Regarding this. And I hope that he helps other men come forward. Although with the press and how they've actually portrayed everything, I just go, oh my God, because it would put off, I think it would put off people coming forward female-wise regarding some of the backlash that Amber Heard has had. I think it would make women it would just make them double check themselves regarding going forward to actually do anything regarding domestic violence.
You mean to speak out as a woman?
To speak out regarding the court thing. But also regarding the defamation. I mean, it's really about defamation and the fact that he can't get his work dropped off, right? And I don't know, I sit there and I go, well, I don't actually know, because of what studio bosses have said, whether he's actually going to win or not. I hope he does.
Yeah, well, we don't know.
Wish him the best, don't know. But who knows?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I've got some other questions for you.
Sure.
So I'm hurriedly writing these questions down because I think what you're doing is extremely good, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I do because what you're trying to do is you're trying to deal. You're not saying, well, you're saying, well, domestic violence happens, but I want to try and stop it from happening, or at least assist in it not escalating to the, if there's a little start of it, then to actually try and nip it in the bud.
Right.
And get people help around that, to get people to understand themselves.
Right.
So regarding the therapist, right, when you signed this lease form, for want of a better word,
policy,
that's right, brilliant. When you sign this, you're actually saying, I'm going to go to a therapist I'm going to go to a appointed therapist on a regular basis? Or do you go to them initially, and if that therapist goes, these guys are okay, there isn't an issue?
Right. Well, once a month you are required to check in with your therapist. So you could say everything is fine, I'm good, I'm single, I'm fine, that's fine. Once a month, that's okay. However, we feel that everybody's going through something, and if you're not going through something right now, something is going to happen. And if you could be single and dating someone. And things are going along. However, all of a sudden, and not even all of a sudden, because abuse always happens in stages, it always escalates. Like, it's never, I punched you. It's always,
no.
It starts with put downs
slowly
and
little,
isolations, right? And it's like subtle almost, like at first, right? Like you think, wow, he cares about me so much, or she cares about me. They want me all to themselves. Meanwhile, you don't see your friends, you don't see your family. And before you know it, you haven't seen them in months or weeks or so with the Osso Safe certification and the therapist assigned to the property, you could speak to the therapist and say, before this escalates, the therapist could say, wait a minute, like you're talking and you disclose, yeah, I'm dating someone and I haven't seen my mother, my father, my friend in a while. And then the therapist could say, okay, well, what's happening? Actually, he wanted to be on my account, or she wanted to be on my account. Well, these are red flags. Like the therapist could alert you and say, these are red flags, and you might want to consider breaking it off or have a discussion, or at least before it becomes where you're punching each other and you're like a Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation, if you will, just to give an example where it's in our face. So this is all preventative. Now, you could have your own therapist. You could have your own therapist. That's fine. And we are looking to make then that therapist Osso Safe certified, if you will. Like you could use that therapist. And if you like them, they like it's a good fit, because not all therapists are created equal. We're not going to mess with that as long as you have a therapist there, and it's part of your rent.
Okay.
It's part of your residency. So we worked it in there as far with the landlord, like it's part of your residency, if you will. Because like I said, okay, everything is okay. You get along, you have a good relationship with your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, you have children. Great. Then that check-in is going to be short, right? Okay, fine. We're not going to argue that. But let's say in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, your child comes home and says, well, there's a bully situation. I'm getting bullied, or I'm being cyber bullied. What do? And that's where a therapist could guide you and help you before it becomes a physical or altercation at school, at university. So that's what I hope I answered the question.
No, you did. So, no, so okay. So who pays for all of this then? Is it incorporated in the rent? Is it the landlord pays for it? What actually happens? Because I'm thinking these therapists aren't going to do it for free. Nobody does anything for free nowadays.
Right. We have, for the sake of this interview, we made it simple. There's 3 levels of certification. So when we're talking about the Mr. and Miss Landlord, hire us. We'll get your property Osso Safe certified. To the landlord, it's $125 per unit. One-time fee, $125. That gets you the policy, the seminar where we educate everyone, the app, and therapists assigned to the property. So that's what the landlord pays for, and it's a one-time fee. So even if let's say you have 10 units, and in like let's say 1 through 5, you have single people living there. Okay, that's $125 per unit. But then in your unit 6 through 10, you have a family of 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the same $125. It doesn't matter. So no matter, it's per unit, not how many people are in the unit. So we wanted to make it as inviting and as attractive to the landlord as possible. So that way it's not going to be a financial burden to the landlord, if you will. Now, if they, let's say, oh, wow, violence happens, right? Violence happens. So now we have something here in the States. It's like a security deposit. I'm sure it's the same in Australia.
Yeah, we have that as well.
That's where we take that security deposit as payment for if and when violence happens. This could be compared to, let's say you have a child and they dump toys in the toilet bowl. Now the toilet bowl is running, it's causing plumbing issues. You call the landlord. Oh, wow, my kid, or even if you lie, or wow, my kid dumped a toy in the toilet and now it's causing problems. So here you get the security deposit to pay for the plumber, to pay for labor, to pay for the parts. And then the tenant is required to replenish that after it's all paid for. This works the same way. It's the same idea. It's kind of like, look, you promise to not do any damage to the property and you don't damage each other. So it works the same way. Yeah. And you have 6 weeks to replenish that. Well, we have 6 weeks to get you de-victimized, if you will. It works the same way.
Okay.
So that's how we are. So this is not, like I said, we didn't want it to be a financial burden to not the landlord, not the therapist, and not to the tenant either. So it's kind of like evenly distributed, if you will.
Okay, cool. So look, thank you for coming on board and telling us about this, because I do think this is awesome.
Thank you.
Hope a lot of people take this on board and go forward with this, because the amount of domestic violence that happens in your country and in my country and around the world is it needs to stop. Something needs to happen. It's just insane,
right? To
insane levels. It's almost like we've dehumanized each other,
right?
And at the end of the day, domestic violence went on 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, but it's just, I don't know, it just seems to have got worse. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yes.
And we could dive into social media and all the various different other things that goes on with that. But look, where can our listeners get in contact with you if they need to find out more about this scheme or want to ask you any questions or anything like that?
Yes. Sure. Our website is ossosafe.com. That's OSSOSAFE.com. We are on all the social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and also my direct email is sabrina@ossosafe.com. But on the website, I have their real estate, like it's real estate, schools, and workplaces. So they would go to the real estate section of the website. And also I want to say to children, your listeners that are children, I have a YouTube channel that I started about 8 months ago. It's called Osso Safe Kids. In fact, I'm wearing a wristband for Osso Safe Kids. And I'm speaking to all children, whether they are safe at home or not. And like I wish I had this growing up, where I'm speaking to kids that are safe at home and the ones that are not safe at home openly about abuse, about violence, that when you're dating, when you are of dating age, You want to make sure that you are with someone that is not like your abusive parents, what warning signs to look out for. It's not your fault. You're not alone. We're working as fast as we can to get all of you kids so safe at home. So I just wanted to say that because kids suffer the most in these situations. And we thank you so much, Claire, for allowing us to speak and to describe everything that we're doing. And we intend to go global.
Yes,
for sure.
No, there's a lot of people around the world that need you. So the YouTube channel that you've got, what's the YouTube channel so people can search for it on YouTube? Is it just Osso Safe Kids?
Yeah, it's Osso Safe Kids, Sabrina Osso, or Osso Safe.
Any of those three. Okay, cool. Yep. Brilliant. Yep. And look, one final question. I know you're a very busy person, but one final question before you go. If you could have one superpower, Sabrina, what would it be?
I was asked this a while ago, and I want to say safety, just safety. That if you even think about violence, abuse, chaos, dysfunction, that I just go like that and it stops you right in your tracks.
Awesome.
Right. Like even thinking about it, never mind punch. That would be the superpower. That even if that I could sense that it's coming, that you're about to do something violent, abusive, I just go like that and it stops you.
There's like a spidey sense that actually you sense it and you go, and you just go, no, and they don't do it. Oh, God, that would be awesome around the world completely. Yes. Mind you, you'd be constantly, you wouldn't rest. You wouldn't be able to sleep because it would be constantly. You'd need to train an army of these superheroes. You'd need to make an army of them.
Right. Yep.
But no.
That would be it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Because if you're safe, everything else will fall into place. Then you could do everything else. But if you're not safe, so you do that and then, okay, well, that's it. And, it stops you. And then that's it.
I have to agree with you. I mean, there's all these people going, oh, I wish I had like the new car. I wish I had like this game. I wish I had, a bigger house or whatever. And I go, no, do you know what? You're safe, right? You leave your house and nobody's shooting at you. Nobody's punching you. Nobody's doing anything. You leave, you can go to the shops. You can, you're not living in fear 24/7. Some people are though, and that's wrong in our society. Some people are living in a nice house and all of that stuff and still living in fear due to domestic violence. But, it should be that, be grateful for what you've got, and safety is just so underrated. It's just, it's just paramount. Look, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I think what you're doing is great. And look, you can get on with your day now. And I'm so privileged. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Claire. This was so wonderful. It's been a pleasure. And I love doing podcasts from other countries because it just unifies, and it's, and the more that we get out there that people know about us, the better. So, so thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, look, have a great, I think it's evening where you are, isn't it? Afternoon?
It is. Yep.
Evening?
Yep, it is. It is. It's almost 9 p.m.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Have a great night.
Yes, that's okay. And you have a great day.
Thank you.
A safe one.
Yeah. Yes. You too. Speak to you later. Bye.
Thank you, Claire. Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you've enjoyed this podcast and you would like to hear more, please hit subscribe wherever you like to hear podcasts. If you would like to support us further, share this episode with your friends and family. And finally, drop us a review on iTunes, as I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, and ideas. It all helps me to understand and produce awesome content you want to hear just like this. If you want to check out our past episodes, write to us, appear on the podcast, or for links, resources, and show notes, go to our website, www.strongsingleandhuman.com. We are also on all the usual social media platforms, Insta, Facey, and Twitter. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Be kind to yourself, and remember, no one is perfect. We're all just putting one foot in front of the other and doing our best. I'm Claire Martin, and you've been listening to the Strong, Single and Human podcast.